Jos Verstappen angry. Things like this cannot happen. Red Bull had a fantastic weekend, with Perez winning the Monaco Grand Prix and Verstappen finishing third, but the Dutchman's father reckons the company should not have emphasized the Mexican. That's what fathers are good at, being critical and overprotective. However, the scenario is a little different in this case. Who is Jos Verstappen, the man behind one of F1's most famous drivers? Let's go find out. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're speaking about why Jos Verstappen is angry and why things like this cannot happen. Stick till the end and watch the entire video to get all the details. Also remember to like, share, subscribe and click the bell notification. Alright then, let's get started. Jos Verstappen is dissatisfied with his son Max's third-place finish in the Monaco Grand Prix. Verstappen Sr. would have preferred Red Bull Racing to do more in terms of strategy for the title leader. After all, after his DNFs, every point counts. Perez was called in first for a pit stop by Red Bull. That decision proved to be the finest, as the plan allowed the Mexican to seize the lead. According to Verstappen Sr., Perez's triumph is due to that earlier pit stop. The team could still portray it as a gamble, he adds, but they had previously seen with Gasly, for example, that the intermediates were the best option at the time. Verstappen had to abort his lap due to Sergio Perez's crash in Q3 of qualifying. On Sunday, the Dutchman had to start from P4 and gain one position thanks to Ferrari's strategy error with Charles Leclerc. Max Verstappen's father has criticized Red Bull for favoring Sergio Perez on his way to the Monaco Grand Prix victory. The Mexican won his third race in the Principality, capitalizing on an error that cost leader Charles Leclerc and undercutting the other Ferrari racer Carlos Sainz to take the lead. The victory was simple from there on a track where overtaking is usually difficult. Verstappen finished third, taking advantage of Ferrari's mistake and passing Leclerc while the Monegasque was still in the pit lane. Even though the team placed both drivers on the podium, sandwiching Sainz, Jos Verstappen was disappointed that the team did not prioritize his son. Red Bull accomplished a solid result, but at the same time exerted minimal influence to bring Max to the front. The 50-year-old wrote in his blog for the official Verstappen website he finished third because of Ferrari's error at the second stop of Charles Leclerc. The planned tactic did not aid the championship leader, Max, in that regard. It all worked out in Checo's favor. That disappointed me, and I wished it had been different for the championship leader. I would have rather they go with Max, but I'm not fully objective. I believe Max has thrown away 10 points here. Despite leading the standings, Perez was faster than Verstappen and qualified ahead of the Dutchman on Saturday. As a result, he was better positioned to attempt the undercut on the Ferraris ahead of him, which he accomplished thanks to Ferrari's pit lane error. Verstappen Sr. blamed his son's lack of pace in Monaco on the Red Bull car, which he believes does not suit the world champion. Max's third-place finish was quite disappointing, he said. We could all see he had a terrible weekend. It all starts with the car, which lacks the qualities required for his driving style. Max's front axle has far too little grip, and with all of the light turns in Monaco, you need a car that can turn swiftly. That wasn't easy. Meanwhile, Red Bull's Helmut Marko stated the team was glad to take the Monaco Grand Prix victory given to them by Ferrari's pit stop error. The Austrian bragged about how the victory was delivered to us after an Italian team gaffe saw Charles Leclerc summoned in for a tyre change and entered the pit lane before his terrified race engineer warned him to stay out. The Monegasque racer re-entered the race in fourth place as he cried over the radio. To complicate things worse for Ferrari, Carlos Sainz was undercut by Perez, who went on to win a truncated race due to Mick Schumacher's tragic collision. Sainz, who finished second, and teammate Max Verstappen, who finished third, joined the Mexican on the podium. Leclerc and his crew were devastated again after failing to finish in the top three at his home race due to a simple mistake. Red Bull advisor Marko, on the other hand, was overjoyed as his squad capitalized on the gaffe to claim a decisive victory. I can't judge how they conducted things internally, he replied when asked about Ferrari's actions by Sky Germany. We were satisfied with what was served to us. He then praised the Red Bull strategy staff, specifically mentioning chief strategist Hannah Schmitz for placing Max ahead of Leclerc. The Austrian continued. The plan was the deciding factor. Even though other teams had already set the quickest intermediate laps, the calmness to stay out was the deciding factor. Meanwhile, team head Christian Horner has stated that Leclerc would have beaten both of his drivers if not for the botched pit stop. Charles seemed to have things pretty much under control in the early laps and had the buffer of his teammate behind him, he stated after the race. At that point, it appeared that Ferrari had won the race. I thought we might be able to overwhelm one of them, but not both of them, and we profited from their error. It's a process, but you need effective and clear communication. And as a pit wall, we had all the information and were making good use of it. We debated going straight from extreme to slick tires like Lewis Hamilton did to win in 2016, but we believe going through the inters was faster. I've always been proud of our attacking race squad, and we've always focused on performing the basics well, whether it's strategy or pit stops. Thinking on your feet is essential, and today was all about trying to think on your feet and reacting to the situation. After failing to win the Monaco Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc cut a disgruntled figure. The 24-year-old began the race on pole and was desperate to win the iconic street race for the first occurrence in front of his loving home fans. Despite the severe rain, Leclerc started the race well and appeared to be in a great position to take the checkered flag. However, calamity struck on lap 22 when the ace was forced to pit alongside teammate Carlos Sainz. Surprisingly, as Leclerc approached the turnoff, his Ferrari race engineer began shouting, "Stay out! Stay out!" However, it was too late and the Ferrari star was forced to come to a halt. Red Bull adversaries Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez had passed him when the driver re-entered the race. "Why?" shouted an enraged Leclerc. "What are you doing?" He was asked by a teammate. He finished fourth behind Verstappen in third, while Perez won and Sainz finished second. Leclerc, who was usually so calm and calculated, was furious with his teammate's decision and emphasized the importance of Ferrari capitalizing on excellent prospects. "To be let down is not the word," he explained. "Mistakes happen, but there have been far too many today. We cannot do so, especially at this time when we're tremendously powerful. We need to capitalize on these opportunities, and it's not even first to second, it's first to fourth, because we made another error after the first." Leclerc will recall how Ferrari's title aspirations in 2017 and 2018 were ruined by driver and team errors and Lewis Hamilton's supremacy. The racing legend accepted responsibility for the team's blunders and understands that they have devastating consequences and cannot be repeated. "I think the first one was a pretty clear and extremely stupid decision, and from that moment on, the chaos began," he added. Meanwhile, Hamilton had a disappointing race, finishing 8th, while George Russell finished 5th, continuing his incredible streak of placing inside the top 5 in every race this season. In conclusion, Red Bull sees Verstappen as their number one driver attempting to win a driver's championship, regardless of how well-tuned Perez is to an RB18 that has more understeer in its setup window than Max would desire. This has made things more difficult. It was much easier to control Perez when he was 0.3 seconds slower than Verstappen, but still in the top 4. When he qualifies in the same timing as Verstappen, it's difficult to retain the public image of an equal number one. If they race them as equals in this car, Perez will finish ahead on occasion. Not often, but on occasion. It cost Verstappen points in his fight with Leclerc. Ferrari is experiencing a similar issue with Sainz. Perez eventually got the superior plan because he was running ahead. Red Bull could do nothing to rescue Verstappen once he had a Ferrari between him and him. That got it out of a potentially embarrassing situation in which it had to make a difficult decision. It will occur again, both at Red Bull and Ferrari. Well, that's all we have for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.